Hello everyone, Yubel Master aka 38 the Master 1 here, and I'm back bringing you another video for the Yubel community. So, ever since I've gotten back into Yu-Gi-Oh, I've been trying to build Yubel decks, even before Phantom Nightmare was announced. And as a result of this, I've actually discovered many different cards and archetypes that synergize pretty well with Yubel. In this video, I have narrowed it down to the top 5 archetypes that Yubel loves to pair with. Now, I have been hearing some suggestions here and there before, such as things like Eldritch or Testina cards because they're level 10s, so you can summon rank 10s pretty easily. Wait, what? Get that weak sauce out of here! No. These 5 really are impactful archetypes that can complement Yubel's strategy really well, and I'll be going through them in order of least to best in terms of synergy and power, so stay tuned to the very end to find out what the best archetype is. Number 5. At number 5 we have Nephthys. Now, although this archetype is number 5, it does have a special place in my heart because back when I used to play between the Edison and Hat formats, I actually included the Sacred Phoenix and Hand of Nephthys in some of my old Yubel builds. I used Treeborn Frog for the hands to tribute and special summoned Phoenix from the deck. When combined with Terra Incarnate, you essentially get a full board wipe once per turn because Terra Incarnate destroys all other monsters during the end phase, and Phoenix wipes all spells and traps during the standby phase. So when I actually pulled this off, it was practically a game-winning combo, for its time at least. So sometime during my hiatus, they actually made a whole ritual archetype around these 2 cards, which I was pleasantly surprised about when I found out. As for the synergy this archetype has, it's all about the destruction. For those of you that don't know, Nephthys cards usually have an effect to destroy a card in the hand or field to activate one of their effects, and they also each have an effect that activates during your next standby phase after they were destroyed. This means that if you have a Yubel in hand, you can destroy Yubel directly from the hand using one of the Nephthys effects, then get out Terra Incarnate straight away. And during the end phase, Terra Incarnate can nuke your own field as well as your opponent's to trigger all of your Nephthys effects during your next standby phase. So there's definitely lots of potential here, and I eventually want to try out this deck someday to see how well it works with Yubel. Number 4. It's Fire Kings, baby. So if you already know how Fire Kings work, then you probably already know why it's on this list. Fire Kings are very similar to the Nephthys cards in the way that they focus on destroying each other. However, the main difference is that Fire Kings don't have ritual cards, and some of them are even restricted to only destroying other fire monsters. Particularly with the new support that's coming out in the structure deck, a lot of the newer cards tend to only destroy fire cards, and the older cards can destroy any card, sometimes even in the hand. Fire Kings and Nephthys are so similar that I even see some people combining the 2 archetypes to make a fun hybrid deck. I mean, a copy of Sacred Phoenix is even being included in the structure deck we're getting. So basically you can throw Yubel into a Fire King deck the same way you would throw Yubel into a Nephthys deck. So the reason I put Fire Kings above Nephthys is because they are generally the stronger archetype. Nephthys is a little bit outdated in comparison. After all, Fire Kings are getting fresh new support, and it's pretty damn good. The new structure deck is releasing very soon, on the 7th of December 2023. So with this as a new budget option to get into modern Yu-Gi-Oh, as well as the new Yubel support coming out in February 2024, with the Phantom Nightmare set, there is no better time to be a Yubel fan than right here, right now. And if you're a returning player like me, or you just play Edison and want to transition into playing Yubel into modern Yu-Gi-Oh, then I highly recommend starting your journey back into modern Yu-Gi-Oh with this structure deck so that you're ready for the new Yubel support when it actually releases. And don't worry, I will be making guides and tutorials of how to play pure Fire Kings as well as Yubel variants. So if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do so if you don't want to miss out on those videos. Number 3. Heroes. Now we're getting into some really strong synergies. When I returned to Yu-Gi-Oh and searched the word Yubel in the card database, a certain fusion card came up. And do bear in mind, this is before the Phantom Nightmare announcements. The card that I'm talking about is Elemental Hero Neos Kluger. That's right, a card straight from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX Season 4, the legendary fusion of Neos and Yubel. And this time it's actually a fusion and not some weird effects monster that requires you to tribute Neos and Yubel on the field, which by the way is what we got before in the form of Neos Wise Man, which when it came out was super clunky to use, and not even I included it in my deck, because Neos Wise Man was actually released while I was still playing, so But anyway, Neos Cluser actually feels like an apology for releasing this unplayable main deck version of the monster, and they even did the nice thing of making Neos Kluger float into Neos Wiseman, making Neos Wiseman actually usable this time. And doing so isn't so bad, because the thing to note about Neos Wiseman is that it can't be destroyed by card effects, which means it can stay on the field with Terra Incarnate if you manage to get both of them in the field. Anyway, this fusion card alone has opened up a whole bunch of synergies with Jaden's hero cards. By the way, notice how number 3 on this list is heroes and not just elemental heroes. This is because we also have some synergy with some Destiny heroes, namely Destiny Hero Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer. It works super well with Yubel because you can destroy your own Yubel on the field and an opponent's card, summoning Terra Incarnate. Then when Terra Incarnate destroys DPE during the end phase, it just comes back during the standby phase without Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer having to pop itself. Not only that, but you can use Fusion Destiny to summon Destiny Hero Dangerous using any dark monster from the deck. In other words, just like Neos Fusion, it's another way to send Yubel straight to the grave for consistency. And don't you worry, loyal subscribers, cause I do be cooking some spicy Hero Yubel recipes for some upcoming videos. Number 2. Sacred Beasts. Here comes another anime archetype that has great synergy with Yubel, and for some reason a lot of people forget that Yubel actually used the Sacred Beast cards in the anime. The Yu-Gi-Oh card devs have definitely designed the Sacred Beast support with this in mind. All of the Sacred Beast support cards are fiends with 0 attack and defense, just like Yubel. This automatically opens up synergies with cards such as Piri Rias Map, and also some of the cards have more generic requirements, such as opening of the Spirit Gates, with its third effect requiring you to control any level 10 monster, not just a Sacred Beast. There's also that one new support card that we're getting in Phantom Nightmare, which is also worded generically enough that it allows you to summon Spirit of Yubel or Yubel from the hand, which by the way I did do a video on for my Phantom Nightmare set review series, so go check that out if you're interested. Now, Sacred Beasts are quite the gimmicky archetype that doesn't really see any competitive play, but I decided to put it this high at number 2 because of its close relation to Yubel in the anime, as well as the card opening of the Spirit Gates. This card, along with Dark Beckoning Beast, is so good as a mini 6-card engine that I've basically included it in almost every one of my Yubel builds, both pre and post Phantom Nightmare. With these cards, which by the way search each other, you can get 2 fiends on the field and a continuous spell that can summon Yubel cards from the grave once per turn. Now that's extremely useful for Yubel decks, and has pretty much replaced relying on Doom Shaman to summon Yubel from the grave, as we have been doing since basically Edison format. Number 1! And the number 1 most synergistic archetype for Yubel is Unchained. Now, you may not have expected this to be number 1, but do stick around because there's a lot of untapped potential with this archetype when it comes to combining Yubel into it. Unchained is another archetype that focuses on self-destruction, but this one is very different from the other 2 mentioned on this list so far. Unchained is a fiend-based, that's right, fiend-based, Link archetype that's relatively new. The monsters destroy cards on your field to special summon themselves from the hand, sometimes even at quick effect speed, making them very, very slippery and hard to stop. And both the Unchained monsters and the spells and traps usually have an effect to summon an Unchained monster directly from the deck whenever they're destroyed by a card effect. So during a combo, you can produce multiple bodies on the field without normal summoning by just triggering your effects constantly. And with the bodies you make, you can go into Unchained Link monsters, 2 of which have effects that can use your opponent's monster as link material to link climb into even stronger monsters. Since they are all fiends, you can also summon cards such as Wave High King Caesar, which actually requires 2 level 6 fiends to summon, which you can easily do with the new Unchained cards from Duelist Nexus. Unchained so far has proven to be one of the best decks of recent formats, and is super hard to stop once it actually gets going. By now, you're probably starting to understand why Unchained is at number 1. Not only does it have destruction synergy, but they are also all fiend type monsters. There's so much potential with these cards, especially with the new Link monster from Duelist Nexus, Unchained Soul Lord of Yama, which requires any 2 fiends, meaning you can use the new Yubel cards from Phantom Nightmare as well. It searches any Unchained monster on summon and can banish itself from the grave whenever something is destroyed to summon any fiend from the hand or grave, and you can pop another card. Yes, that means you can even summon Yubel cards too. It's just so strong. Not only that, but Tour Guide from the Underworld is a staple for the Unchained deck. because it's a 1-card starter to link into Yama. And with Tour Guide, you can summon Fiendish Rhino Warrior from the deck to then link off with Tour Guide into Yama, because Rhino's effect is that when it's sent to the graveyard, you can send 1 Fiend monster from your deck to the graveyard, meaning you can send any Yubel card from the grave too to then summon with Yama. I mean, the combo practically writes itself. You just normal summon Tour Guide, summon Fiendish Rhino Warrior from the deck, link summon into Yama, add an Unchained monster such as Unchained Soul of Shivara, using Yama's on-summon effect, and then send that new Samsara Lotus to the grave, which is a Yubel card, using the Rhino that you just used to link summon. And this Samsara Lotus we want to summon from the grave will start our Yubel combo. So at this point, we need to get Yama into the grave to summon the Lotus. So because of this, unfortunately, we do need another card, making this not a 1-card combo. It needs at least 2 cards. But from here, if you have another Unchained Spell Trap in your starting hand, you can set it, then destroy it using the Shivara that you just searched, special summon Unchained Twins Sarama from the deck, link off the Shivara with the Yama into a Link 3 monster to get the Yama into the grave. Use Shivara's effect to set another card from the deck, because Shivara's effect can trigger when it's sent to the grave, not just destroyed. Then use Sarama's effect on the field to pop that card you just set, as well as set 1 more from the grave to use for next turn. You then get to trigger both the trap you popped as well as Yama's banish effect from the grave to special summon Lotus from the grave and then pop another card. Then from here you tribute Lotus, special summon Spirit of Yubel, search Nightmare Pain, generating even more cards, and the combo just keeps on going, dude. It's so nuts. The potential just feels practically limitless. I mean, this is just from 2 cards, and look at this field. It's still growing. I mean, I don't even know if this is the most optimal way to do this combo. I literally did this off the top of my head from reading the cards. Maybe you don't even need Tour Guide and Rhino in this combo if you have Yubel cards already in your hand. You could even use the double normal summon you get from the Sacred Beast engine to get out Yama. There's so much you can do. Okay, I need a breather. I'm getting way too excited. So this is exactly the reason why I'm so hooked on this game. I just love theory crafting, and I seriously can't wait to sink my teeth in when they actually release these new Yubel cards. And with more research, it could be a possibility that these Unchained cards might be a staple for every Yubel deck to come. So I'm definitely going to be getting on that research so I can share all this information with you guys. So yeah, that's my top 5 archetypes that Yubel loves to be paired with. In order of worst to best, we have Nephthys, Fire Kings, Heroes, Sacred Beasts, and Unchained. So what do you guys think of them? Do you have a favorite? Do you agree with my list? Have you played any of these archetypes before? I'd love to hear from you guys, and I hope this video has inspired you to create some fun and interesting Yubel hybrid decks. Whether it's pre or post Phantom Nightmare, I'm sure you can come up with some spicy builds and take them to locals. Let me know your ideas in the comments below, or feel free to ask me any questions you have, because I know things got a little bit crazy with that Unchained combo, but don't worry, because I'll be sure to make some more in-depth guides that are much easier for you guys to follow. Please do be patient though, because I am quite the busy individual and editing videos is hard. So thank you to my loyal subscribers who have been patient for me though. It is a labor of love, and I do like making these videos for the Yubel community. So I want to thank you all for watching them, because it really does mean a lot for me. Please like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. It's completely free and just takes a couple of seconds. So with that, I'll see you in the next video.